Good morning, guys. So, I don't know what time it is where you are, but right now as I'm recording this, it's about 9:30ish. I'm really tired because I was really late. We got back after 1 from watching Age of Ultron, which is a really good movie, by the way. Won't say anything. And then my computer was having issues and wanted to fix them before I went to bed. And I woke up at about 8:30 today, or I guess it was 8 o'clock because my boyfriend had to go to work. So I'm really tired, and I have a really bad migraine, but I can't go back to sleep. Lovely. So you also pardon me if I yawn at all. Today's advice is going to be mainly on children and gender identities. Now, what brought this on was a story that I was reading on Tumblr about a mom whose 2 little boys decided they wanted to be princesses at a little girl's prince and princess party. And when they showed up, all the other parents were like, "Oh, how could you do that? That's disgusting." You know, stuff like that. Like, how could you make your child wear that? Like, I'm sorry, why is it your immediate thought that it's the parents forcing their child to do this? You know, I'm pretty sure there's enough, sorry, I can't think of the word. Uncomfort, I guess, in society that most parents aren't going to try to dress their little boys in girls' clothes. Maybe a little girl in boys' clothes, but that's probably because they want her to be a tomboy because the dad wanted a boy and got a girl instead. But I don't know. It could be a more often scenario. I don't see it. With society's uncomfortableness with guys being girls, I don't see that parents forcing their little boys into dresses. So, I don't know, that's just not a thought to me. But then, anyway, in the story, the dad showed up and was like, "Hey, look, can't you see that they're happy in what they're wearing?" So, it just, and then they just started whispering, like, "Oh, you know, it's so horrible." Like, get over yourself, for one thing. Second of all, I don't know how old many of you are. I don't know if any of you have kids. If you do, I certainly hope, pardon my cowlick, I certainly hope that they know it is perfectly fine to explore their gender. If they want to say their gender that they were born as, that's fine. If they feel they aren't comfortable as that gender, that's fine. If they decide they're one gender, but then later on decide that, no, I'm actually this gender, that's fine. And that's fine for you guys too, by the way. If you decide, for example, that you're agender, you don't have a gender, then you decide later on, well, actually I might be a demigirl, a demiboy. That's fine. It doesn't matter how old you are. I'm 21. I first identified as gender fluid near the end of last year because I still wanted to go back and forth, or at least I thought I did. But then I later on figured out, no, I'm just transgender. I can't explain why I thought I wanted to go back and forth. But there you have it. I'll admit, and this is something that I said when I first discovered I was transgender, I decided I was going to be a boy who sometimes dressed and acted like a girl. And I do sometimes. I have a skirt. I have a cute little schoolgirl skirt, too. I have a dress. A cute little lily dress. I have a wig that's really long and pretty. I've posted pictures. I'm going to be doing something else with it soon. Anyway, the point is, I'm still a guy. I identify as a guy completely and fully. If someone calls me Mr. Ma'am, I'm going to be a little annoyed and calmly say, well, I'm actually a guy. You know? But I still wear girl things. And a couple weeks ago, I was having a thing where I was like, I'm gonna be a girl today, where I wore my bra and everything instead and acted like a girl, and it was a lot of fun. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm actually a demi boy, or maybe I'm still gender fluid. But then, I think it was just like after the weekend, and I put on my binder again, I was like, no, I'm a guy. But like I said at the very beginning, I will also do sometimes girly things, and that will include wearing my bra, because I gotta admit, it's a really cute bra, okay? Anyway, the point is, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're still exploring your gender, that's fine. especially if you're a little bit older. I mean, you have to think. Growing up, we're taught that you're this gender, you have to stay this gender. So growing up, we had, and most of the time we had no way of knowing, since it seems just recently, information on different genders have become a lot more readily available, sorry. Like, they've been there. They've been on the internet. But it just seems lately, because more people are sharing the information and posting them in places that more people can get to, it seems that the information is a lot more readily available, which is good. But like I said, you have to think that for a long time, it wasn't like that. We had to spend, long periods of time looking up every detail of every gender to see, is this what I am, or is this what I am, or maybe this, or talking to other people, which is hard because, growing up, we're told to be the gender we were born as. So a lot of people who might have been transgender or something else, we're probably not going to talk because they might have been in the closet. Maybe. And for example, for people who are like over 40 years old, when they were growing up, they were looked down on a lot more than we are today. We have to be thankful for that, by the way. Or at least we should be. Because if you think about it, during the time that our parents were growing up, like those of us who are like 25 and under, for those who are of us who are parents when growing up, they would have been looked down a lot more. And yes, there are still murders of transgender women, and even, I'm sorry, I don't see many trans boys dying in the news. I know of a couple, but I'm sure there are. And it's really saddening. But if you think about it, when our parents were growing up, it was worse. They were looked down on more. So, at least I'm thankful for the fact that I can walk around with short hair and a pin that says I'm a boy, and most people probably won't even give me a second glance, while others are like, that's cool, or may notice it but completely ignore it. I'd much rather be ignored. Oh, let me take that back. Let me rephrase it. I would much rather them notice that I'm a guy. At least that what my pin says, or just notice that I dress and look like a guy, than be murdered because I'm trying to look like a guy. Because I don't have long hair and I don't have a skirt. Anyway, this got off tangent. With kids, I don't know. They're more susceptible. So if you're really, really against them trying to explore their genders, and you force that on them, and force your ideals onto them, that your ideals are like, you're born a girl or you're born a guy, you have to be that way. They're gonna think they're messed up because they don't feel right in their own bodies, but they're told they have to. That's not right. Now, growing up, I was told, I mean, I don't think my parents said anything bad about it, but growing up, at least when I was younger, the whole being transgender thing, I don't think it was really a thing, or at least wasn't very well known. Because most of what I got was tranny, transvestite, mostly guys trying to be girls. And I feel so bad because growing up, I was made to, I don't want to quite say hate, but stay away from that. It was bad. And it was looked down on so bad that it's like, it was really bad. It wasn't until high school that I started discovering that, there's more than that. It's not tranny or transvestite. I didn't really learn the word till I think senior year or just after, transgender. But it took me many years, and I'm very sad about that. I'm so happy that it's starting to be, at least in the internet, it's becoming more and more, the information is becoming readily available. So basically, if you have kids, or if you know of young children, if they're not yours, make sure to talk to their parents about it. I don't want you or them getting in trouble, the kids. If their parents are so dead set on them being the gender that they were born as, I suppose you can do your best to try to tell the child that, this isn't the way you have to be. But please don't get in trouble with their parents, because you may not be able to speak to that child, and that child will get in trouble too, and it's not a good ending. For example, my older brother had a baby girl. He was born in December? Yeah, it was December. It's like early December. I asked him, once I explained that I was transgender, and he was fantastic. He said, me and my wife, Molly, support you. And I'm so happy about that. And I said, well, hey, when Grace is older, my niece, can I explain it to her? And he said, yes. Please, by all means. I think he mainly meant like, please do, because I don't think he really knows how to explain it. And when I first met her, I looked down at her and I said, hey, I'm your Uncle Ace. And she was a fantastic baby girl to hold in my arms. I'm a little biased because she is my niece and she's my first niece. But she was beautiful and she didn't cry while she was in my arms. And I cannot wait till she's a little bit older and she can start understanding. And I'll explain to her as best as I can. There's more than just being a boy or being a girl. You can be both. You can be neither. You can be the other. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. And I get the feeling, not that her parents would make her, I just get the feeling she's going to be at least a tomboy at the very least. Because her parents, even her mother, is an extreme tomboy. So I'm just like, they love sports. They love games. She's going to be a tomboy at the very least. Anyway, so kids are more susceptible to negative or positive things. So if you feed more positive things in their life, they're going to have a better outlook on life. Not only that, but they're going to be good kids. And even better adults. So in conclusion, today's advice is, if you know or have a small child, please make sure, as best as you can, make sure they understand they don't have to be the gender they were born as. They can be. There's nothing wrong with being cisgendered. This also goes for sexualities, I'd like to say as well. Sexual orientations. They don't have to just be straight. They can be. If that's what they are. You're not going to change someone. If this small child is straight and cisgendered and will always be, there's nothing you can do. Do not force anyone, especially kids, to be something they're not. That's just going to make it worse. If you at least explain to them so that they understand that, first of all, it's fine if they just explore their gender, and second of all, other people are able to explore their genders. So, for example, if you are not cisgendered or straight, explain it to them so they understand. So they know, even if other people in your family use the wrong pronouns, that explain to them what the right pronouns are. And just say, don't listen to the other adults. They're going to say something wrong, and it's not right. What's even worse is if you're like, I'm actually this, and they go to tell their parents, and their parents are like, no, they're this. Those poor kids are going to be so confused, and it upsets me that the parents are like, I'm not even going to take a moment to think about this, it's not true, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, in conclusion, tell kids about different genders. It's a little obnoxious, but I mean, basically make sure they understand. And also, it is perfectly alright for you to explore your gender. You know? I'm at least extremely sure that I'm a guy. You know? I don't know. I'm a guy, though. That's all there is to it. Alright. This went on, again, a little bit longer than I meant to. I apologize. Anyway, please remember that your gender, no matter what it is always valid. You are valid, your feelings are valid, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.